Okay, so 2 hours ago, I got out of the theater watching Avengers Endgame. I wasn't going to go see it this early, but there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of people saying this was just perfect. Must see. You have to go see it. I was a big fan of Infinity War. I haven't been a big fan of everything Marvel's been doing, mostly because if I can simplify it down to a sentence, it just doesn't feel like there's enough weight to it, especially with the high stakes. The world's always in danger. It's always like trying to find this MacGuffin, a jewel, or this or that. And it's always like world domination or world destruction. And again, the characters go into battle knowing that they're going to get beat up, but they'll live at the end of the day. Civil War was the first one where I thought, oh, yo, there might be some stuff that's going to happen that might be permanent, if you know what I'm saying. I did enjoy Civil War, and then Infinity War came, and then I was like, okay, this is the one. Thanos has to do something. He has to tear it up. I actually enjoyed Infinity War a ton, but almost immediately I realized they're all coming back. I mean, come on, we all know that, right? Going into Endgame, the one thing that I kept hearing a lot of my friends and people online say is, this is it for them. This is the end. Maybe they'll see what's coming up next because the trailers might look good, or it might, it might intrigue them. However, I got a couple friends that are like, yeah, I'm done. I don't even need to see any more MCU movies unless they come out and the trailer just blows you away. So I thought, really, they would make a movie? Is that their intention to? I know they have these phases they're doing. I don't pay attention to all that, but walking out of Avengers Endgame and not wanting to be spoiled, that was a big thing. I took my daughter to see it because hearing her friends talk about it, she was just dying to go see it. I thought it was shocking how she rooted for Thanos mostly, though. She friggin' loves Thanos. But walking out of it, I thought, wow, they are right. This is the end, like, especially even for me. I as a two-parter, Infinity War, Endgame, I don't think it's perfect. I don't give it that much praise. I still really enjoyed it. And for the spoiler-free part, if you have any interest at all in this movie, go see it in theaters, preferably before spoilers or before you have it spoiled. And it's worth the experience to see in a movie theater on screen with a good surround sound system, on a big screen with some good sound. It's absolutely worth it. It's something we have never seen before. It is superhero cinematic history. The largest, by far, superhero battle that's ever been put to film. By far. And there's stuff in there that in little different pieces. I mean, all together, you're going to have problems with some things. You're going to love others. Some people are just going to love everything. But you're going to get these little epic mini moments. And I do appreciate that, I think, the most. Because you got so many characters, you can't give everyone some epic shine. But I think they tried their absolute best to divide that shine up between this huge cast. They do a good job. But so, spoiler free, you have to go see it if you're interested at least a little bit. If you don't come away loving it and thinking it's perfect, you'll at least come away appreciating certain moments. Now let's get into some of the spoilers. We might be all over the place because I wasn't really going to craft. I'm not a review channel. You know, we are pretty much finding our footing in 2019 and on, but I don't ever want to just be a review channel. I think if anything down the line, we're more transforming into gaming aside. We're always going to peek at whatever hot video games are coming out that's interesting in our genre, not just everything, but video essays, breaking storytelling down. That's where we're primarily heading. But as far as this movie, there's some shit that I'm just left scratching my head about. I think let's get Captain Marvel out of the way right off the bat. I didn't see Captain Marvel. I saw a good chunk of her movie. I couldn't sit through the end. I did see the end, but I couldn't sit through a lot of it. I just found it completely just terrible. It's just such a terrible movie. You know, I like how she shines. I hate the sound effects they used. They wanted to make them different than Iron Man, but they got this tang to them, this metallic, that's just annoying. But I liked some of the visuals, but I just thought the story was just so poorly done. And her inclusion in this, I'm mixed, because during the big battle, I was thinking, all right, they're building up the stakes really good. And you get that moment where you're like, okay, bring in Captain Marvel. Our heroes need a hand. We need some assistance. She needs to come in. Now, I'm against her being all powerful and unstoppable. There's one moment where I just rolled my eyes where Thanos headbutt her and she didn't even budge. Like, not a hair out of place. I don't know what Hollywood is thinking. Those moments, or maybe you'll find a handful of people that go nuts over that shit, but those moments are not cool. You're not edgy. You're not anything but ridiculous and downright awful to watch. And it's not just the power factor and the distribution there. I do appreciate he put the Power Stone, was it? The Purple Stone in his hand and smacked her across the battlefield. But it's the simple fact that when a character gets hit like that, it should have something. A little nudge, a little show of, yeah, you hit me, but I can take it. I would have preferred that. If you're going to have that scene in there, it just devalues the weight to it. I don't know why they do shit like that, especially taking characters and making them so powerful. Now, she does rush in. I wanted her to come in and help. She takes out the big ship, and I was like, okay, you know what? They're utilizing her good in that aspect, but she shouldn't be the one to defeat Thanos. She feels like she's been forced into this movie. I don't know if that's the case. It just feels so friggin' out of place. I can't put my finger on it. Now, the one female character that I thought won me over in a one little scene was Scarlet Witch. I love Scarlet Witch. She walks up to Thanos and she's like, "You took everything from me." He's like, "I don't even know who you are." And she's like, "Oh, you will." You know what I mean? That's the emotional connection we have with her, with Vision, with everything that happened in Infinity War and even the prior movies, but just her between Thanos and then having that moment there. There's a huge difference if you look at those two side by side. If you just love Brie Larson and love Captain Marvel, you're probably like, nah, whatever, yada, yada, yada. But I'm just saying, with Infinity War and the build up over all these years, it should be this cast handling this situation with assistance from Captain Marvel, not her taking over the show. And although she feels forced in here, I think they did a good balancing act with that. Another thing, yes, this was very long and it felt long. There was a point where I was just like, can we hurry this along here? I know some longtime Marvel fans would love and soak up every moment, so I'm cool that they left it long, so that way you guys got your moments that you enjoy and like, because there are a few movies I skipped. I didn't watch Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. I liked Iron Man 1 a lot. Anyhow, Thor, Chris Hemsworth has a buttload of chemistry, and I've liked him way back in Cabin in the Woods before anyone knew his name. That was him, right? The guy who rode a motorcycle off. Way back then, I knew this dude had chemistry. I just didn't like the whole fat gut they put on him because it just looked a little silly. He looked, the same in the face, bigger beard, messy, and then he had this just gut. I don't know. I think they went a little overboard with that, and it did look a little silly. You can see it a few times, but it looked like a fat Thor on the battlefield. I liked the look, the getup they did with this hairstyle, and that he looked like a superhero. Looked like a different superhero visually from what is it called? Infinity War. I like that. His story went in an odd direction where it felt like he was a different character. You have this one Thor, I like her, and then how serious he is. And then throughout this Thor hippie, the dude, Thor turns into the dude. You know what I'm saying? The dude from The Big Lebowski. He felt like a different character for some of that. And it just... And again, this is where I'm mixed because I wish it was done a little differently, but he's so charismatic that it works. And my daughter got a kick out of them playing Fortnite. She was screaming up and down about that. I knew that was definitely coming because Fortnite and Marvel have been going back and forth with limited time modes and doing like cross promotion between the two. So I had a feeling we were going to have a Fortnite poster or something, but they were actually playing the game. Thor was playing Fortnite. And yeah, make of that what you will. I got a kick out of it. I don't care about certain promotions. Oh my god, I forgot what it's called, but I don't care about some, but that was fine. We have they're packing so much in this 3 hours where some things feel a little too simple. I won't go through everything, but one thing, time travel. It's like, oh, maybe we can travel back in time. But they're packing so much in here. Tony Stark does, one swipe with his hologram and he says a couple science words and all of a sudden it's a success, But I get it. A part of me while watching is thinking, okay, that seemed really rushed and really quick. But at the same strength, I'm thinking, I don't want to sit here and watch 20 minutes of him failing and da-da-da-da-da about time travel. Just, set it up that he's done this a little bit. It's failed, but he's doing another test to see if it works, and it works. We're skipping right to the end with Captain America. There's been a number of different things I've seen from people posting online and reviews. I tried to catch up with a couple reviews to see if the general census was overwhelmingly positive with reviewers. And one thing that kept cropping up, excuse me, one thing that really kept cropping up was not understanding some of the rules that they set forth in this universe. And to be in defense of the movie, I think some people are just missing stuff. Like a lot of people are saying, how did Captain America go to multiple different timelines when they needed help with, the getting sent there? And we saw that Captain America and Iron Man, after Tony Stark messed up getting the one stone, after he messed that up, they were able to beep, bop, boom with their wrist things, and they sent themselves. Maybe it connected back to the base with the computer, however that worked. But they did it themselves. They sent coordinates, and they sent themselves back to the 1970s. So using that in the movie, Steve Rogers would go back in time using the little beep, bop, boop machine and send them all over the place, deliver the stones where they return them, and then the final stone he returns back home, and he just stays there. And then he grows old, and then boom, he's there chilling, because the way that the stones mess up the different realities is different than going back in time, staying there, and then coming to this place in time where you left from. You know what I mean? So in defense of it, I'm sure if you really pick apart some things, you can find some loopholes, but I just want to say, don't forget that one scene where Tony Stark, beep, bop, boom, and he sent himself to the 70s after he sent himself to 2012. He was in 2012, and then he sent him and Steve Rogers back to 1970. So Steve Rogers definitely could have done that same thing later on. And then Nebula. I see a lot of people saying if Nebula can use her fingers to stick into the time machine, finger the time machine, and bring Thanos, through time, why didn't present-day Nebula do that and send them back in time? And I think what a lot of people are missing, again, correct me if I am wrong, I only saw it once, and I had a 9-year-old with me, and she was running her mouth the whole time. Fortnite, Thor, look at his belly, all this, all this madness in my ear. But what you miss is Nebula, how do I say this? Old evil Nebula captures new good Nebula before good new Nebula can use the Pym particles, which is what pulls them through time. She captures her before she can use it. She actually hands that to Thanos. You see it, they zoom in up close. Thanos then uses the Pym particles. Nebula does the controller to set the destination, and she brings him from the past to the present using the Pym particles. I got that right? I didn't watch Ant-Man, so bear with me here. Using the Pym particles, so that's how that worked. I see a lot of people tearing it up, and I'm like, wait a minute. Did everyone miss the close-up where Nebula took the Pym particle, whatever that little red vial was, and handed it to Thanos? So yeah, there's certain things you could miss, and I miss a lot. My first time watching, so it happens, especially 3 hours, especially with so much going on. So if you missed that, yeah, if there's other loopholes, put them down in the comment box below. I'm sure there's plenty. Another weird thing for me was Gamora. I actually started to like Gamora. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy cast. That's probably I would like to go out and pick up eventually the Blu-ray for Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 and even check out 3. I don't own them yet, but me and my daughter rented the first one on Redbox a few times. She gets a kick out of the beginning when he's dancing, and they did that scene here. Matter of fact, they did a lot of scenes that seemed like fan servicey. I kind of got a kick out of him. Going back in time, Steve Rogers fighting himself, Captain America versus Captain America, because the one guy thinks he's Loki and he transformed into Captain America. I like some of that shit. Anyway, Gamora, I'm assuming this is going to be the jumping off point for Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3, which is an interesting setup, trying to bring those characters together again in a whole new way without making it feel repetitive, because as the audience, you're going to be saying, oh, Gamora, you're in love with him, just let's get here already, so that's going to be interesting to see how that works. Hulk is a character I loved the most in Thor Ragnarok. Hulk and Thor, one of my favorite scenes of all time in any Marvel movie is where Thor and Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, they're in that room, and Hulk is talking now, and he's like, puny arms, and he throws the grape at him, and he's like, Thor, go, Hulk, stay, and Thor hits the barrier, electrocutes himself, falls down, and Hulk is laughing at him, and he says, Thor, go again. That's one of my favorite Hulk moments. And then they have the Professor Hulk. I thought the CGI for the Professor Hulk was downright incredible. I thought it was great. There was a couple moments where it was kind of iffy, but for the most part, it looked great on my screen. I didn't like his voice though, being, it was a blend of the two, but it was, Bruce Banner's voice only. I didn't like that, I'll be honest with you. I thought it could have been a little deeper, kind of like how I liked it in Thor Ragnarok, but not as deep, so maybe a little, you guys get what I mean. Yeah, so a lot of stuff. I think the beginning, starting out with Hawkeye and his family, good. You get there, you show the Thanos snap, finding a Thanos that's limping and weak and retired, alone, no radar, no army. He just retired. That's it. He destroyed the Infinity Stones, and then they show up. He gets beheaded, and then even having. I don't mind it having Thanos from the past come into the future. I know a lot of people are saying, well, I know it's the same Thanos, but it's not really, because he didn't do all the shit that this Thanos did. You know what I'm saying? For me, I don't care. Thanos is Thanos. It's all the same guy. And they even added to it by him saying, you annoyed me so much, I'm just going to wipe your planet from existence. As a matter of fact, I'm going to wipe all life. I don't know how that's going to work unless he kills himself, but I think he's cool with that. I'm going to wipe out all life and start anew, And that raises the stakes, because it's only been the world or the universe or maybe some galaxies, but this is all life and start over. That's one hell of a wish. Some of my little favorite moments, if I can just burn through these, was Nebula killing herself but staying alive. I thought that was just badass, because, and again, there's symbolism there. You can pull a lot from that, but her connection with her sister Gamora, her relationship with Thanos and everything, and she doesn't even hesitate, and I love how they have that in there. She knows what to do, and she just bang, done. Black Widow's one that confused the shit out of me, because I don't keep up with filming, but I saw an article recently where they're going into production with a Black Widow movie. I thought that was absolutely weird, because she dead unless they bring her back. And again, if they bring her back, this is what I mean with Marvel. There's no weight. If you go into battle and die and have these sad scenes, yet you come back in a number of different ways, it really steals the weight of those scenes. It really takes a lot out. Maybe not for some fans, they just want to see their characters over and over, no matter how many times. But for me, I feel like, what's the point? You know what I mean? It just steals a lot of the weight to it. And then let's get to the final two. We know that this was Captain America's last hurrah. I'm cool with how it ended, except for one moment. They have had this Bucky and Captain relationship, friendship, best friends till the end for so long. And at the end of his story, he calls over the Falcon. Is that some comic book shit that I'm not tied into here? I mean, matter of fact, I could have sworn Bucky was the next Captain America. Maybe I'm just thinking of something else, but wait a minute. He has this huge relationship and he calls over the Falcon? Listen, I like the actor who plays the Falcon. I don't mind the Falcon. I don't think he's one of the best. He's just like a side character, but they call him over to be, even if it's not to be Captain America. Like, okay, Falcon, you earned it. Here's your shield. Even though you don't have any fucking superpowers, you don't have this super soldier serum. That is laughably stupid. I'm sorry. That's probably one of the moments where I was like, are you trying to get this man killed? You gave him a glorified boomerang. Without the superpowers, what is the shield? On top of that, we just saw Thanos destroy your shield. What happens when you meet an enemy that's as strong as Thanos? Maybe he doesn't have a big army. What happens then? Is he going to tear through the shield and go, oh shit, turn back into the Falcon and just fly away? That part infuriated me to no degree. What is it? This past week, I cannot pronounce that word right. So there was that part, and not him and Bucky not having a moment really was just like, what? Anyhow, then we have, so that we have Iron Man and his end. Here's where we get some of the superhero stuff. Do we really need one-liners at the end anymore? Do we really need, or can we polish them? I'm Iron Man. I don't understand what that was. It was cheesy. It's cheese I can overlook, though, because I was enjoying this. It was definitely worth every penny going to the theaters, especially the big battle. I'm buying it on Blu-ray, and I don't buy many of the Marvel movies simply out of spite, because they never, ever, 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 ever put them on sale, no matter how bad or how long they sit on the shelf and collect dust. When they first release, they sell like hotcakes, but then you'll see them stacked up collecting dust because they never put them on sale. And then when they do put them on sale, it's like $20. It's like, wait, that's like normal price, homie. Who pays more than $20 for a Blu-ray? Yeah, I know. I've done it before. I've paid like $25, $30 for certain ones, steel books and stuff like that, but give me a break. Anyhow, so I'm definitely going to cop this, watch them probably sometime, I don't know when, but maybe back-to-back as a two-parter. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know if I could watch these two back-to-back in one night, though. I'd probably have to have really nothing better to do that whole day, because that's like a good 6 hours, maybe a good 5 hours. I don't know how long Infinity War is, but as far as the end battle, I think there's, again, you get mini moments, but I think overall it's probably just the fact that you got so many of these characters on screen, and there are moments where it does get lost in translation because there's so much. You know what I mean? So you got all these characters, but it's the same thing that gets a little iffy watching the recent big battle with the Game of Thrones. There's just so many bodies. It's hard to really focus on a few battling, but when you focus on the few battling, you're thinking, why aren't they being overrun by, the rest of the enemies that are swarming in? But as a story that concludes, a decade worth of Marvel movies, I think 20 some odd movies connected in some way, I think this was one hell of an effort. Probably some of the absolute best, even with plot holes, loopholes, even with the plot armor, the cheesiness. We have one point where we're in a battle, everyone is separated, but then for no reason whatsoever, they stop to focus on an all females are suddenly on this one space, and they all band together to show like women. I don't understand shit like that. You guys know, like I just said it, Scarlet Witch's moment was one of my favorites. I was like, oh shit, I wasn't thinking about this coming up, but now that we got it, oh, I'm digging this. But then you get this one moment, and it doesn't make me go, ew, gross. You know, women, ugh, they're all together. That's so stupid. A whole bunch of sexy women in sexy superhero outfits are on screen at the same time. I'm not going to be like, you know, but the first thing you think is, wait a minute, where's everybody else? What is everyone else doing? And how did you guys go from all sprinkled in fighting to women are all over here out of nowhere? It's one of those shots where you know damn well someone was like, I want a shot of all the women for the young girls growing up, and they want to look up to you. And I think this is what I'm talking about, because my daughter is a future woman, you know what I'm saying? And she actually pointed out that as a what moment? Like, did I miss something? Was there a purpose to that? And her favorites was Thanos. She got a kick out of Captain America's ass. It was a joke because it kind of sounds like he's an ass, but in the show it was about his ass. There was who else did she like? She liked Rocket Raccoon, obviously, but it's this forced thing that goes, just because they're women, little girls are gonna look up to them. I just think that's so stupid. My daughter came out of this theater actually sad that Thanos died the way he did, even though she had mixed feelings about superheroes versus the villain. Well, maybe she's a villain in the making anyhow. I don't know. But I think as an effort for a superhero movie, even with the negative stuff you can pick out, this was one hell of an effort, and I give them a solid round of applause. Everything they didn't stick, and that's all throughout the years, but it was one hell of an effort that was actually fun and interesting to watch, and I'm not at all excited for what comes next. In my opinion, this is it. This is the end. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. What did you think? Sorry this review was all over the place and too long. I'm done talking. It's your turn.